Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time a game between IdrA spawning as the Red Zerg, and Inflow Mini, formerly Minigun, spawning as the Blue Protoss. Both players taking advantage of the one-time name change Blizzard did offer recently to tag themselves with their team names. Inflow, a team that has Spades, K-Pock, and now Minigun as well. And then Evil Geniuses has IdrA, In Control, Machine, a ton of great players you may have seen at MLG Dallas. IdrA was in the States for a while, playing on the North American ladder while he was playing the MLG Dallas tournament and a little beforehand, as he was staying at Machine's house. So we may see a lot of ladder games creep up or replays of IdrA, as we hardly ever see IdrA replays when he is over in Korea. He does not release his own replays, so sort of have to rely on his opponents to release and post these replays. IdrA had a relatively disappointing MLG Dallas tournament. He did lose to Liquid Nazgul, who, as a Protoss player, used Blink Stalkers to do some great micro and take down IdrA. We wait to see which build IdrA does favor here. He is at 14 drones, so it looks like he's going to get a 14 pull down. We see the gateway down for Mini at this point. He will be able to block off this ramp. Very much a requirement against Zerg players, as any sort of Zergling run by can decimate your economy. We do see an assimilator going up for Mini here, as well as an extractor for IdrA. So it looks like IdrA may be going for a little bit of one base play right now, perhaps some speedlings, perhaps some fast roaches. We do see Mini out here just trying to block this expansion. He does not want IdrA to get on these two bases, and he wants to make sure that he delays IdrA anytime IdrA does move a drone down there. So we'll see what comes up after this spawning pool. Looks like the Queen being queued immediately. Good timing there on the Overlord popping just in time. Now we see IdrA moving down here. Does not yet have the 300 minerals for the hatchery, but it looks like he's just going to be taking on that probe and still spending minerals, so he's not saving up the 300 minerals. He's going to be dancing around with this probe and still spending more and more, as we do see two Zerglings coming out. They are going to be able to chase away this probe finally. And now IdrA does not yet have enough minerals for this hatchery. Instead, it looks like he got up a roach warren. We do see Mini does have the cybernetics core out, and now chronoing out a stalker to go with this this zealot. The zealot going to meet those Zerglings, take a few shots on each Zergling, so the Zerglings are quite low at this point. And now IdrA just going to retreat back. He does have this roach warren up, and looks like two roaches are now coming out. Does have this queen positioned, maybe throwing down a creep tumor here, or just being closer to this ramp. Going to try to defend against any sort of early pressure. Out comes this stalker for Mini, going to be following its zealot friend there into the base of IdrA here. We do have two roaches which just popped, so they should be able to repel with the help of this ramp this small bit of aggression from Mini. Looks like four more roaches just popped for IdrA, so he's going to have 7 roaches total. This is the 7 roach rush, which you may read about if you check out strategy threads. Very powerful timing attack, as the Protoss player not able to have up a lot of units at this point. Just the few stalkers, 2 stalkers, and 1 zealot on the field right now for Mini. These roaches are going to be taking damage from these stalkers. Stalkers being pulled back anytime they lose all those shields. Now these 6 roaches coming in. They did lose 1 roach friend there. Warp gate tech about to finish, so IdrA going to move up this ramp. See these 3 warp gates coming in, and this may be great timing for Mini, as he does have enough pylons up to warp in another 3 stalkers, and now IdRA's going to be forced to retreat. These roaches with a move speed of 2.25, the stalkers with 2.95, so much faster than the roaches, plus they have the extended range, 6 range versus the 4 of the roach. So off of creep, these roaches are very weak to these stalkers. We do see Ling Speed and another Queen coming up for IdrA, so preparing this the second hatchery. He does have this first queen down. Now we see these stalkers are going to be chasing down these roaches. They can focus them down and trying to micro away from the roaches. They can do a ton of damage here to these roach numbers without taking much damage themselves. IdrA trying to focus down stalkers. Minigun doing a great job keeping his low stalkers in the back. Look, he's leading with all of his high shield, high HP stalkers. And now going to be picking off all of these roaches. Looks like IdrA was able to pick off one of those low stalkers. And we see Zerglings coming in here. They need to attack with the roaches here. Another stalker goes down. So we see finally these Zerglings are going to come in, try to get a good surround on these stalkers with help from the queen, and the one roach here might be able to take down a few of these stalkers. But the stalker's doing a lot of good damage to these Zergling numbers, and it looks like Miniflow was able to get down, or Inflow Mini was able to get down a few more gateways, as well as a Nexus, which is almost complete here. So pretty good wall off here. And he will soon be on 5 gateways here, as well as a second base. Does have a small room here where he could position a Zealot. But now IdrA going to try to counter with these Zerglings. Not going to be able to get in here. Try a split attack here, but the forces of Mini not really falling for it, just staying in the mineral line, going to be protecting this economy. If we look, 32 drones for IdrA right now, as he did spend a lot on those Zerglings to try to fend off those stalkers. Zerglings now in the middle of the map versus the 33 probes of Inflow Mini. So we will soon be producing off of these 5 warp gates, trying to get up a number of pylons, make some room to get out quite a few units here. See no other higher tech being warped in right now for Mini, just working off these warp gates, no forge. A lot of Protoss players like to go for that +1 attack, and no no robotics or Stargate or anything coming. If we look at the army tab right now, 1600 for the Protoss player, and just continues to warp in more and more units. Looks like he is going to be pushing out here versus just the 500 of IdrA. Looks like IdrA's getting up that ground carapace level 1. So very good upgrade against Protoss, as the Protoss does like to go for that +1 upgrade. So we see the army moving out here, and I'm not sure IdrA's going to have enough to fend this off. He is producing 8 roaches now, so he's going to have to pull back here and attack all at once and try to counter. We do have a proxy pylon coming in here for minigun, and a lot of energy on these sentries, so we may see some good force fields. He did get up the Guardian Shield, reducing the damage from those roaches, getting up a number of great force fields, going to try to keep those Zerglings away from the stalkers in the back of the army here. Going to get a force field on the ramp, prevent any sort of roaches from coming in, and just not enough roach numbers and Zerglings taken down very quickly by Mini. Another force field comes in here. IdrA doing a little bit of a rage here, not really sure what he expected. That initial 7 roach rush did not work. He did not do any damage with it, and then the stalkers were able to pick off all those roaches as he retreated back to his base. He was forced to produce a lot of Zerglings to take down those stalkers so that they could not hurt his economy, but producing those Zerglings kept him from really being able to drone up and then get a bigger macro game going. So a good timing attack here by Mini. He did have those 5 warp gates and was on a second base, plenty of income to support the 5 warp gates, and finally just pushed out with a nice size army. Had a few good force fields here. Definitely force fielding the ramp very strong against Zerg, as they have reinforcements pouring in from both their natural and their main. And IdrA was just taken down. He does have 11 roaches about to pop, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to be enough to take down these units, especially since they are split and the force field will prevent these roaches from getting down here. So pretty good short game here. We do see IdrA getting a little bit mad here, possibly getting frustrated with the American style of play. Maybe more used to the Korean style, as that's where he has been laddering and practicing for the most part. So I wanted to bring you a short game here. I've not brought you many games recently, trying to work with some new Adobe software, bring you perhaps some new features in my game, so hopefully get up a game or two in the coming weeks using that software. But for now, I'll try to bring you daily games off the ladder, off of the many different tournaments, perhaps a few more MLG Dallas series, as I'm not sure that all the good series have been cast yet. So, as always, check out my channel, Matron StarCraft at YouTube. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.